cashapp22 IG. Welcome back to our opinion podcast. I'm your co-host Terence, here my co-hosts Michael and Jhoan. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Decent. I think you.
Go
You
ahead.
gonna be doing that on podcast?
For real.
I'm almost done. I can actually hurry up. Let's start off with one that we'll probably go through pretty quick. But would you guys care if your son had a kitchen set to play with? Like if, let's say, your kid is 4 or 5.
So right off the bat, we're starting with misogyny.
I come over. I brought him a gift. It's a big box. That, oh shit! Like you spoiling him. And then he opens it up. And it's a kitchen set. Would you be like, you gotta take this bitch back?
If it's not I feel like as long as it's not a pink kitchen set, I wouldn't care.
If that's the only one that's there, and that's the one I'm buying, like.
Then I wouldn't want it. You bought my male child a female gift.
So you went from, oh no, kitchen set is fine, but if it's pink,
yeah, if it was like,
pink
that's a big
solidifies
difference.
it
That is a
to girl.
big difference. If it's, I've seen plenty of kitchen sets that just look like a
so
regular.
that's what you're gonna tell me? Like I know there had to be another one.
Yes,
There was
100%.
no other kitchen sets in the store.
100%. If you brought a pink kitchen set, you went out of your way to get a pink kitchen set. It's probably harder to find a pink kitchen set than it is to find a regular kitchen
No,
set.
I'm sure they'd be next to each other.
I'm sure you're assuming that. So
No. Honestly, I wouldn't be tripping, bro. I wanted a fucking easy bake oven growing up and shit. You know, one of the ones, the little, you know,
the ones
like
they had to recall.
you know, like that. Yeah, I mean, so, you know how it should go. But like,
He said, you know how it should go.
but like, yeah, I don't think it's really a problem. I feel like, especially with like cooking, bro, like that's like an essential tool that you'll have to use like your entire life. So like, getting to know how to do that now is beneficial, especially because like in college, bro, like I know people personally who like can't make any type, like they can't make rice type shit, you know, like they don't know how to cook. So it's like all they do is buy food or like, you know, have somebody else try and cook for them and shit. Like they don't know how to physically sustain themselves.
Imagine trying to go through college having people cook for you. Hey, you hungry, bro? You trying to cook some more for us?
Like, what do you mean you can't make like food for yourself, bro? Like the only thing you can do is put a pizza in the oven. Like that's tough. So like not being able to cook, yeah, it sets you back a little bit. I feel like, cause you know, I mean, it's just, excuse me, it's just tough. So like, I feel like learning how to do that at a young age really isn't that bad of a thing, and I feel like it really doesn't have nothing to do with like gender roles. Like, I mean,
unless it's a pink kitchen set.
I don't really think it matters.
But I mean, you would notice it. Like to me, like that's what I'm saying. Like if you just bring in a regular ass kitchen set, I'm gonna be like, oh, you brought a kitchen set in. If you bring in a pink sparkly kitchen set in,
Now you had sparkles.
yeah, you brought my son a female gift.
You had one that says all for girls and everything now.
Yeah, like girl power on it or something.
Right.
Like, I don't know. But yeah, no, I think that, I mean, most companies, most like toy distributors know like the difference between blue and pink. That is the color, the gender.
Going
color
off
things.
this, then, would you be upset if you had a son and he picked out a Barbie?
I wouldn't care if you picked out it. If you picked it out, this.
But it's a problem with 5 by him.
Yeah, because at that point you're trying to force something onto that kid.
I am not. If it's the only one, you're gonna be like, then you could have waited.
So right, but it went. So you switched it up as well. It went from a regular kitchen set to now the only one that was there was pink.
Yes.
No, that wasn't the original question.
It was kitchen set. I decided
Right, kitchen
to add,
set. Right, so
You
you just added shit.
because you
Okay.
assumed it was the regular.
All right, so you wanted it to fit to your story.
And I'm
Go
telling
ahead.
you.
Yep. Whatever you want then. Whatever you want me to do with my kid, I'll do. I guess clearly, because it doesn't matter what I pick, because I'm doing something wrong. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Would you care, Terence?
If it's
Probably.
pink?
No. Well, you said no if it was pink, but if your like son chose a Barbie,
Nah, shit, bro. Growing up, I played with Barbies a few times, like at my cousin's and shit house. Like,
you did that?
Mm-hmm.
I've
I
never
did
seen
that-
Michael do
I did that with
anything
Lupe.
feminine.
I did that with Lupe when we were younger. Like I would
For
have
real?
Transformers, and then occasionally she would also have the Barbie. I don't remember if I
You?
actually played with it myself, but I remember playing with Lupe.
I don't know if I ever touched it.
Like I remember playing. Lupe had Barbies and I had Transformers. I'm not gonna say yes or no, but I wouldn't care if I did pick up a Barbie
Yeah.
because we were just playing as
bro,
kids.
honestly, like, bro, like being a kid is being a kid, man. You just have fun.
Pink,
playing with
blue,
whatever.
yellow,
I don't give a-
green,
yeah, bro. Like
anything.
I wasn't worried about looking like a guy, bro, or nothing like that. It was just like, bro, this shit is fun to play with, so I'm playing with it. Like
Right, but
You know what I
the
mean?
reference
Like-
that you made was an adult picking out a toy, not a kid picking out a toy.
And that's if I bring him something.
This
Yeah.
guy always wants to, like, you see what I'm saying, bro? You said, oh, but what if a kid picks it?
So
No.
you couldn't buy your son Barbies?
He couldn't buy my son Barbies. What I'm saying.
Yeah, like if it was Christmas and he popped up to your house and gave your son a package, and
I'm gonna be like, show me the list where he asked for a Barbie.
Right, and what if he was like, oh, what if he confided to me? He's like, yeah, I wanted a Barbie, but don't tell Dad.
He said, "Don't tell that."
You stay switching up the story midway through
Michael,
it. Like I can't be
Michael.
right because you keep switching it, bro.
What if he was like, what if time? Let's say,
So
what
it
if
has
time?
to be on the list for him to get that toy.
Like, look, if I have a male child, right, and if they don't ask for a Barbie, and they play like with like Transformers and they play with cars, why are you gonna go out of your way to get my kid a Barbie? Just to have me explain to them, oh, well, do you like this? Do you want to play with this? Like, why go through all that effort just because you decided you wanted to get my kid a Barbie?
You could have just left it there, and if he touched it, cool. If he didn't, then that's it.
No.
You didn't have to explain it. Like,
it's just so
do
stupid.
you want this girl toy? Yes or no? Like, you did.
Well, that's exactly what me and Terrence were talking about, how when we were kids, we don't care. We don't notice that.
But that's what
it's
I'm
not
saying.
until an adult enters the situation and explains that toy is for a specific
Right.
gender. Now, what I'm saying with the kitchen color thing, that is my preference, that I just would prefer that kid has a neutral kitchen set.
Cool. So if it's a Christmas present, and you saw something that you didn't want, you take the gift from your kid?
What do you mean?
If I show up to a Christmas party, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be the type to just do it as a joke and just put a Barbie toy underneath the Christmas
Barbie,
tree.
bro. He's like, I just can't bring your kid a Barbie? What's wrong with that?
And you
Fucking
So
God,
you taking
dude.
the Barbie?
like I'm asking him. Like if I
If you
put it
leave
down
it there, I'm not even going to tell the kid that that's his. If I have a daughter too, and she's like, oh, is this my Barbie? Sure. I'm not going to be like, oh, your uncle got that for her? Like, I don't care. Pick up the fucking Barbie. It's a toy. Like, if you did it as a joke, I'm not going to care, like, what you did.
You would if it was just the boy that you had.
Like, you're going
That's
out of your
interesting.
way
No.
just to see if like, I have some type of, stigmatism towards, like, my kid being gay or something? What is it?
No, I already
No,
know you. Like, I
Then
already
why
know
are you asking all these questions?
Because I was telling
Would you
her.
care if your kid was gay?
Nah.
I don't
If
think
it-
I'd care now. I used to hate it, though. I mean, I can be honest. I've definitely changed my opinion on it. I used to.
It's our opinion. Shit, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be honest.
But like no, but that like a lot of that stems from the fact that as kids, my dad hated gay people. So like as to us, it ended up making me uncomfortable when people would act like that because I'm like, yo, like I was told that shit's weird, so get the fuck off somewhere with that. Like you know what I mean? But then over time, meeting different people, you understand that you can't just be like you can't just not like a certain group of people. You know what I mean?
See,
So like
after you say that, now I know you'd be pissed if I bring it. Like if you were
Barbie doll, dude.
if you were anything like my dad, you'd be like,
Oh,
you'd pick
man.
that shit up like, who brought this?
Bro, I would just be like,
You?
why did you get my
Why did you
son
get
a
this for him?
Barbie doll, dude?
And you would look at him like, does it look like he plays with this?
No.
Take it back.
Bro, like again, it would just be like, oh, you brought a Barbie doll. If the kid was like, hey, can I play with that?
I just
Go ahead, I guess.
I don't know. Like you say that, and we grew up together, and I don't.
And I told you that I've in the past.
know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I've never felt like that though. Like even with my dad being like that, maybe because I never hung out with him as much as you did and shit.
That's probably it.
But because I was like, you said like, oh yeah, like hate him. I said, oh shit.
Like as a kid, I did.
Yeah, like he was
genuinely
like
did.
middle school. And he was like, we would see like gay people sometimes, and Mike would be like, just like give him faces. I was like, what's going on? He just didn't like him.
Okay, I think we're sort of exaggerating. Like
No.
My boy's gonna be sliding up on Michael's ass, bro.
it's not okay. I don't think that to the extent where I just pulled up on gay people.
No.
And
It
made
was
faces.
more like if
Like if people ever made a
Look.
joke about me being gay, I would get super offensive and like super defensive, and thi'd be like, "Get that F word out of here! Like get that F word shit out of here!" You know what I mean? Like I would be very defensive.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. No. You know what I mean? Like no.
No.
And that's where the being angry would stem from, is people trying to make a joke about it. I'm like, no, I don't play that shit.
I feel you.
Yeah, now you know it's the boys.
The boys.
The boys. So,
that's not true. We were playing like 2-3 days ago, and you were like, "Bro, if you don't stop touching me, I'm gonna hit you."
bro, that's okay. Listen, okay, pause. Okay, so no, that's different. So I was playing with Jhoan Fortnite, right? And even they admitted that they were trying to start some shit. These men, I was literally, so they were right behind me. I'm playing Fortnite, and they're just like, I'm like, hey, bro, can you stop that shit, bro? And they just keep doing it. And I genuinely started to get pissed, bro. I'm like, hey, bro, you're playing a really stupid game right now. I was like, you got like one more of those. And then they're like, hey, my bad. We were just joking. I'm like, why are you hitting me? Like, what the fuck? I was kind of pissed. I told them after, I was like, hey, my bad. I kind of got angry, but you were pissing me off with that shit.
If they came over and they watching you.
No, they were on there. They were playing League of Legends. So
Oh.
that's just what we do. Like, we'll hang around each other. It's not like we'll constantly be, yeah. So like, that's just, we were hanging. We'll take turns and shit sometimes. But no, that was a whole nother scenario where I was just pissed at that. But
I wouldn't care if my son. You guys never asked me, but I wouldn't care
I knew you wouldn't care.
if the kitchen set. If my boy had a kitchen set.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, bro, I would encourage it almost. Like, it's just like
For
I
the
said,
future,
it's an essential tool, bro. Plus, not to mention, I mean, assuming that if he does, like, people would like people that can cook. So if you can cook, it's gonna be good for you. And plus, like, bro, like growing up, one of my brothers on my dad's side, like, he was cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the entire family at like 8. I'm talking about everything, bro. From pancakes, bacon to fried chicken and mashed potatoes, like everything. Like, he was cooking at like 8 years old, 9 years old. Like, that's a very useful tool.
Ladies love that. I'm talking about, like, imagine you take your girl to the first date. He's like, oh, where we going? What you mean? Like, I'm about to cook for you.
I'm finna just shove it up for you.
She said, for real? She got to take twice. Like, are you serious? What are you cooking?
Said, for real? You can't afford the bill or what?
That'd be some shit.
If she hit you with that, you damn near can't even come get the food at the crib.
We're not linking up. I'm not gonna cook for you.
Like, I had to pay for the groceries for my good shit.
She's like, you think I put this makeup on to go to your crib? How am gonna tell people on Instagram I went out?
Definitely gotta go. Hell no.
Okay.
Well, continuing, like, gender roles and everything.
This is just kind of like a gender episode. Sorry.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about? I saw on Snapchat, a woman recently broke like a bunch of like Olympic world records, and she's a transgender woman. Transgender woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know to what extent she's transgender? No, you just know that she went from male to female at some point in her life.
Yeah. It was more on the recent side. Like, I mean, obviously it was more recent, but I don't know if you're going with the whole, like, she's been on like estrogen shots and all that, and getting her testosterone level down, and if it's
physical change as well.
But the thing is, they don't have that anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that part. I can look it up if you like, but I don't know that, just in case if you were gonna use that.
What are your thoughts on that, Terrence?
I feel like, you know, it's a tough one, because obviously if you transition from male to female or whatever, and you're superior in terms of like your muscular build from previously being a male and shit compared to the females in that sport, it's tough in that sense. But I also feel like if you go through that transition and you truly feel as if, you know, you are a woman or you are the opposite sex that, you know, you were, then you should compete in whatever league you feel like you should compete in. Like, if you feel like, if you transition from a male to a female, I feel like everything about you now is strictly female. Like, you go to the female restroom, you know, you do like that kind of shit. So I would assume that you would also play with the females. Because, like, I don't know. Because I think it would just be equally as strange if I turned on my TV and saw just one female in the NBA. Like, it would be like, that's a little different. Why are they in the WNBA with the other women? Right. So I feel like, you know, but again, like, the competition level and everything, definitely tough. But hey, that's the times we're living in, man. You gotta switch it up, I guess.
Well, I have a couple problems with this situation here. One of the problems being, let's say you do have people that are genuinely living up until 20s and 30s and genuinely happy with their life until one day they genuinely decide that they no longer want to be the gender or sex that they were assigned as a kid or as a baby. How do you know who actually feels that way and who just wants to go get some gold medals? Like, that is the problem. That's not up
for you to determine, though. If they make that switch, that's a personal choice.
No, but what I'm saying is, so you think it's fair if Michael Phelps was like, hey guys, I'm retiring from male, but I don't really feel like a woman. I just know I can get away with the fact that if I want to say I'm a woman.
See, that's different though.
Yeah.
But if there's no rules against that, what's the difference is what I'm saying.
If you blatantly come out and say, like, yeah, like, I honestly still am a male, but, like, I'm finna go, like, that's different. But, like, if you come out and say like I truly feel like if you like I have to believe what you tell me on that one.
So we have to interview each person before they enter the Olympics?
Not necessarily, but like I'm saying, like I just feel like one, if you really are gonna go through all of that just to win,
you would be surprised.
that's I mean like it's just like if you really want to go through all that, then I mean I guess there's gonna be the few bad bunches in the batch, but like
I mean it's not even just like think about this, right? So like the fastest female runners, like the very peak, like top 5, 10, can't compete with like the like top 200-300, so like 300th place male. So if that 300th or 200 and something place male decided one day like internally I don't care about this shit, I know I'm a man, but I'm gonna say I'm a woman, and they don't have to announce it to anybody, but I'm gonna pretend that I really want to be a woman, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna win a gold medal and I'm gonna beat every woman in every single event just because I said that I'm a woman. And that's the problem, is that I'm sure that there are people that are actually like genuinely feel like they aren't the same person anymore and they want to change, or they want that the gender role
bro,
switched.
I feel like if you really have to go through all that just to win, bro, then fuck it, bro. Just go ahead and get your happiness off, because that's just sad. That's a sad ass.
But you don't think that it's unfair to the female like athletes that train their entire lives?
Because at that point, those guys have a genetic like.
If they feel like females,
we're not saying that. Like we're not like fighting.
Yeah,
that
we're
part.
not
it's just saying
the
like
fact that some people feel like that.
Right, but I feel like that's the point, though. The point is that I do feel like a female, so I should compete with the other females.
And there's more than enough now that feel the same way like you, where we could probably just have you guys compete with each other. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's.
Would you be okay with a separate? It's like transgender,
right? It's not. We can put this in perspective.
If they have the numbers for that, I mean, I guess that's fine. But then I feel like, what do you do when it's a woman transitioning to a male? Like, well, aren't they going to be at a disadvantage at that point then in the male league?
Yeah, and that's why they're not making and breaking records.
That's another argument, is that like you never see males switching to women and then going to the women switching to male and then going to the Olympics
because they're already at a disadvantage.
Exactly. So the only time you see it happen
is for males. The only way you can make it fair is if you make a separate league for.
Yeah, and that's what we would go with instead, because like you have the right and you feel like a woman, that's fine. But at this point, it's like if you, Terrence, were like, oh, I'm all-star basketball player at my college, and you have to fight somebody, or not fight, you have to like compete with somebody in basketball that's a whole foot above you. At that point, it's a disadvantage because he's taller, and you can't change anything about it because he's taller than you, right? It's the same thing with the women. Just because they transition from male to female, they have all that.
They still have all those advantages. Yeah, like you still have the bone density, like the mass and muscles.
That's what I mean when I say like I get the competitive aspect, because
like, at that point,
it's tough. But like I feel like the only way if you have the numbers to make a league separate for them, bet.
And see, but that, like, just like you were saying, there's still gonna be people that will be like, well, but we are females.
Yeah,
it's gonna get to the point where like the top 10 women that are breaking these records in the Olympic team are transgendered women, and at that point, well,
he said, "What are we really
like?" We get that you feel like that, but
I was gonna say
women that have been women.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
There's a guy. I don't know if it's currently now, but he did it in the past when he like first did this rule. He's a British like bodybuilder, like weightlifter. He literally went as soon as they did the rule, and just all he did was he went to like a female competition saying, "I'm a female." He didn't take any tests. He didn't do nothing. He just went up there, said, "I'm a female," and then lifted and beat every single record that the females had that day. Yeah, like that is what we're gonna get. And the thing is that the Olympics had set a thing where they're like, okay, so if you want to transition, you have to bring your testosterone level down to a certain amount just to make it a little more fair with the women, even though it was already much higher than what a normal woman was going to be at. And they just recently removed that cap.
Yeah.
So they made a subsection where they're like, actually, it doesn't matter how much testosterone you have. As long as you identify as a female, you're good.
The testosterone level they had to bring was down to like 50.
It was like 100.
100?
But the women, like 150, and a normal woman is like, I think from 25 to 75, something like that.
Range of testosterone level?
Yeah.
And a guy starts off at like 500 to 1,000.
It's like a crazy, yeah, it's like they're,
Because, I mean,
yeah,
right.
Guy's norm is just
so they have to bring it
insane.
down, but that doesn't.
Yeah, but then they switched it, so now you could have 1,000 or whatever testosterone and just decide that you're a female and go and compete
That's
and
tough.
crush.
So this, I don't know if you guys read the Snapchat thing that I sent you guys about the swimmer. This is him. He looked like he's 6'4", 6'3", above 6 foot. He also was first place in the men's like NCAA swimming team for 3 years in a row.
Folks cold.
Yeah,
But then 1 year fell off and decided he didn't feel the same no more. Like,
So he just switched over.
like
Well,
that.
yeah, like,
this is his thing.
like I'm sure.
And I don't know
Yeah,
exactly how he
yeah,
feels.
like
I'm not
how-
coming at
we're
him and
not-
attacking him
yeah,
just
like-
because he decided to do this.
Like
but
he's not doing
just
this
an
to break
example.
records because
Yeah.
he was already cold as a male, so he
Yeah.
really felt like I am a woman inside. But it's to the point where you're beating these. I'm sure the women's like swimming team. What's their height? Gotta be like 5'8", maybe.
I feel like
5'9".
the tall swimmers are 6 feet.
6
like
feet.
6 feet
Dude
tall
already
swimmers.
has a few inches on him.
Yeah.
His push off the wall or dive. That's
Isn't
already
that a big advantage too? Yeah, because all that
That's a- I
extra
mean-
muscle you
There's
have.
tall females that swim.
yeah. But his wingspan probably like
How much did he
6'8".
win by? How much did he win by? Was it?
Um,
Wasn't it like a close race or something? Like seconds apart?
it was
Once.
38 seconds ahead.
Oh, 38 seconds ahead.
No, in swimming, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's a
that's-
pretty.
You damn near lapped them.
That's bad in swimming, boy.
Yeah.
You did my whole half of that's
like a
tough.
lap
Yeah.
and a half.
So
Yeah,
like the
that's
argument that we're making is we don't think that they shouldn't compete because that's fucked up.
Yeah, no,
We
because
just-
an athlete's an athlete.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just
for
think
real.
that if anything, if you switch over to what's it called? Like if you switch over, they should be two separate leagues. But I just don't think that they're like it's possible. Like
Hold
there
up.
should be a transgender male one and there should be a transgender female one. But if like those were created, I feel like there's such a small amount of people that you would kind of like know who was gonna like
You
who's the
think
top
it'd be
competitor.
you think it'd be messed up if the Olympics were like all? Nah, I guess it'd just be real discriminatory.
What?
Like if they were like not the transgender women, but the other women. If y'all want a little edge, go ahead and do your thing and poke
What you mean? Like,
like
steroids?
steroids and shit and everything and like.
But the thing is, then those female athletes that transition from male, then they can take steroids
Yeah.
too. That's a double buff. So
Eee.
yeah, it's kind of a tough pickle that we're in here.
Nah, I mean, yeah, I feel like the only way to really make it even, I guess, at that point would be to have a separate league.
'Cause,
But
yeah.
like I said, bro, I just feel like without the numbers, though,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the problem, I
that's
feel
that,
like.
that. I'm sure that is because look, and I was telling you this before, like we started. There was a woman a few years ago that was like a track runner, and her testosterone was just naturally higher. And when they tested her, they said you're cheating, and they disqualified her from like certain events
Oh,
that
damn.
year. And they were saying the argument, well, how is her natural body a disadvantage? But Michael Phelps, who's a
Yeah.
world record breaker for many years, has like a natural thing with his body where it helps him with swimming. How is that not an
yeah,
advantage?
that's
to the
cap.
point? Yeah,
They
and that's
tripped on that one.
Yeah, and they were
tripped
like,
on that one.
well, we tested her testosterone levels, and they are a lot higher
And
than
she
a
not
woman.
cheating and no other, like, she not taking testosterone.
Right, that's her
and shit, bro.
natural
That's
body.
Natural, y'all cap. That's
Yeah.
cap. That's
Yeah.
cap.
So that's why some people are even now they're like, all right, so transgendered women, like we support you, but y'all out here kind of like,
They get
Taking
these
over the
special
game.
treatments
yeah,
as well.
it's like I'm out here training for my whole life, and
Yeah.
this year was
No,
my
I definitely
year.
get that, because that would be fucked up, bro. I'd be pissed as hell, like, in their shoes, you know? Especially if, like, yeah, at the disadvantage like that, for sure. But, yeah, I feel like, yeah, you just got to make a separate league, but I feel like without having the numbers, though, like, we're kind of at a standstill. Like,
I
what
feel
if
like
we
if
are?
anything-
I mean, we're in a transitioning period ourselves with sports then anyways, you know, because it's just to the point where there's more people like transgendering themselves. So at that point, they are like slowly getting into those sports. So I mean, I'm sure in the future it'll be like there's damn near three
different.
There is
yeah,
probably a lot of
things.
transgender people. It's just like how many of them are athletes.
Yeah,
That's the thing, yeah.
because not only that, like maybe a few years ago it was only like people that were probably already in their 30s that were
Mhm.
transgendering, and now
Yeah.
it's more like people our age,
Trying to get in.
yeah,
doing
and like
that.
they're
Yeah.
being more supportive. Where it's like there's some like 14, 13-year-olds that really feel like they're in the wrong body, and they
How do y'all feel about that shit, though?
Oh, that's all.
that's more like tricky because at that point, if you're not letting like, I've heard it where it was like, if this kid, my kid is 13, and he cannot make legal decisions for himself, why would he have the knowledge and like power in himself to like tell me that he wants to transgender himself into, you know, the opposite sex? Because he's still young. In a few years, he might change his mind.
I already kind of have my thoughts on that because I've like heard a lot of shit like about that topic specifically. I think for me personally, it would have to be that I would understand how you feel and I would support you in terms of like, if you feel like you're a female when you're a male, like that's fine. Like, cool, I support that. I'll, you know, buy you whatever kind of clothes you want. I'll put you in the bed. I'm not gonna like, I won't go out of my way and I won't allow it for you to change your gender, like to change, like actually change your body until after you are 18.
Yeah.
At that point, you're your own human. You're your own adult.
Yeah.
And at that point, I feel like you're close to at least having all the knowledge you need to where you can really make that decision and be 100% sure. Because once you go through with that, then you have to, if you really change your mind when you get older, you're like, what the fuck did I do? Why did you let me do this? Like, then you have to go back and do a whole nother thing. And it's like, well, at that point, couldn't you blame the parent as well for letting them do that and then fucking up the kid's life?
I'm sure in a few years or in the future for sure, we're going to hear some shit like that. Like a son damn near suing his parents, like, told him I was transgendering and I thought I was in the wrong body.
Yeah, I wish you would hear some shit like that.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if one day I hear that. It's like, I'm suing them because I told them as a 13-year-old, could I buy liquor at 13? No. Can I drive at 13? So why would they believe me?
Damn. You know what? I ain't never thought about it like that, though. Because you got me there.
Because that's the thing now. They're like, if they can't think of this themselves, then why would they have the knowledge to trend?
But the thing is that, like, a lot of times as well is, like, if a kid, like, as a kid, like, with social media, if you're like, hey, I want to be transitioned, but my parents, they don't let me, they don't want me to, like, parents can get so much hate just for having that opinion. Even though it's not their kid, like, it's not their business, they feel like they have the right and they need to, like, go in that comment section or, like, DM them and be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing with your kid? You don't know what you're doing. You're going to ruin their life.
Yeah.
And, like, that's aside from the fact that, like, suicide rates in kids that switch genders is still crazy high. Yeah. So it's not like switching their gender automatically makes life perfect for them. There's a bunch of different reasons that they're feeling the way that they're feeling.
Stats and, like, it's not cheap, is it? That's what I'm assuming.
Exactly. So, like, imagine you as a parent spending thousands of dollars to help your kid transition, and then he sues you when he's 18.
Cat.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why I think your decision is probably the best to, like,
support it, but
not like going through that whole thing
until you're 18.
Yeah, because at that point, I mean, you could, if my boy was like, I think I'm a woman, or I know I'm a woman deep down, and he's like 13, 14, I mean, you can start dressing like that, and if he really shows like this is for real, like, I mean, you can take estrogen if you really wanted to, but I probably wouldn't go the whole 9 yards.
I think that maybe I'm wrong. I think that there's actually states.
Huh?
I think there's states here in the U.S. where if you're 16 or up, without a parent's consent, you can go into, like, it was a Planned Parenthood, and it's not an abortion. You could, like, go and you could, like, so you could have them, like, take your breasts off. I might be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that, like, there's a few states that, like, you can actually do this.
It gets a little, because I would believe that.
And, like, I think that's fucked up. And I feel like those people that would do that should be, you should be able to hold them liable. Like a doctor that's willing to like, mess with a 16-year-old's body. Man.
If it's in the law, that's okay.
No, this is just my opinion. I feel like they should be held accountable. If it's the law, Kyle Rittenhouse, you know. But, you know, so.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's tough.
I mean.
Not only that, but we're in that generation. We're watching this change happen. Mm-hmm. So it's like, for all we know, 30 years from now when we have kids, they're going to tell us, like, you know, that at 13, like, if they wanted to, at that point, they're in that stage in life where they really know. You know that, right?
See,
we've
already proved that that's not true, though.
Well, again, it could change in the future.
Well, I'm talking about, like, brain development. We already know that at least 21 and probably even after that.
For all you know, there could be some kind of breakthrough and they're like, look deeper inside the brain and everything else is not well developed except for your own, like...
Except for the fact that he knows he wants to be a girl. There we go with the specific scenarios again.
You just never know. I'm serious. Our parents probably thought this would never happen in the first place.
Bro, I mean, shit, 10, 15 years ago, I would have never thought that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
you know, like you don't think about it. Like the fact that like being married to another man was illegal at one point is just kind of baffling.
Shit,
Isn't
be
that
like crazy as hell. Like, bro, you really gave a fuck that much? Like, y'all was really. Damn.
Like, you be forgetting sometimes, right? And you're like, I was like, oh, why didn't you guys get married before this time? Well, we couldn't.
We literally couldn't, bro. It's like,
yeah,
that's so fucked up.
We were fucking weird for no random reason. Like,
that's. I mean, because our country's just built stupidly, and then we're still relying on a constitution that was written. Yeah, bro. We know how fucked up our country is, though. Like, there's even no need to explain that. But I feel like for me personally, I never thought about it the way you guys thought about it. Like, that was a good, like, the way you put it into perspective was really good. Like, how, like, you wouldn't let them drive or, like, buy liquor and shit like that. Like, that was a good perspective for me. But I feel like at, like, 13, 14, if my, like, son or daughter felt like they wanted to go through the transition again, I would start with the whole supporting clothes and
out and all that.
Like, yeah,
and
bro,
be
my guest. But, like, the physical part, yeah, I feel like that would take me a little time. I don't necessarily know if I'd wait 18.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you told me around 13, then maybe around, like, 15, you know.
Like, at least give it some time.
Yeah, like, I would give you a little time to actually, like, be, you know, like, feel, like, go through with this and, like, kind of get adjusted, I guess. And, like, if, you know,
because, like, what if they tell you that in middle school, go through a little bit, bully like everyone's, you know, like,
and that's another big issue.
So that's what I'm saying. And then they're like, oh, never mind. And then later on, they're 25, and they're like, oh, I went through with it. I was just getting bullied too much, and I just decided.
See, and I feel like that's where it comes down for, like, the parent too, because, like, you got to be able to, like, provide that support for your kid to know, like, because I mean, like, we know kids, bro. Kids are assholes. Like, they gonna make fun of you for everything. So, like, for you to go through and, like, to send, like, my son or daughter to school in the opposite gender clothes and shit like that, knowing that there's a high chance that they're gonna get made fun of or laughed at and shit, bro. Like,
the good thing is now I feel like schools are getting much better at, like, that specific kind of talk.
Yeah, which is definitely helpful because it's becoming a lot more prevalent and shit. Yeah. So, like, that's definitely beneficial to, like, I feel like, you know, as we go on years and years and years later, like, it'll start to get a little better where, like, people aren't really giving a fuck as much. Because, like, we already are kind of getting to that point now where it's just like, oh, yeah, bro, cool. Like, I don't really pay no mind or, like, really, like, oh, my God, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. So, like, I feel like it'll eventually get there, but, like, right now, I feel like it'd be tough knowing that you're sending your kid into that kind of environment. But I feel like if they weather that, if they go through a couple years and they've been getting bullied and shit and they still don't care, all right, bro, you committed. I feel like you like this
is the real you.
Like,
and I mean, obviously, if they're getting bullied, we're not just gonna sit there. We'll try to take steps to avoid that. And you know, obviously, we're not gonna be like, hey, sucks to suck. You decided. You know what I mean?
No, that'd be
let's see how you get through.
Yeah, you got it, big man. Did you say you got it?
That'd be fucked up. No. Support. That's what I mean. Like, you gotta have that support system, like, within your household, so they know, like, feel comfortable in your own skin. You know, be who you feel you are and shit like that. We want you to be who you feel you are. But, like, yeah, I feel like for the physical aspect of going through the change, I would think at least a year, if not 2, of just going through the beginning processes before we really, like, because we can talk about it, we can go meet doctors and see what kind of procedures we can do and shit like that ahead of time. But, like, I just wouldn't fully, like, all right, you can book the appointments for, like, the actual shit right off the bat. Like,
not only that, the bitches ain't cheap.
Bro, not at all. Not at all.
Hey, like, shit, I better have a good job as my kid.
At the end.
So they gotta start getting a job now. Hell no.
Hey, after the surgery, I'm gonna need you to get a job. For what? Just in case you sue me when you're 18.
Like, I'm gonna just start needing that payment back ASAP.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I had another one. I don't know if we've talked about this, but I was talking to Jhoan about it privately. How would you guys feel if, let's say, I mean, obviously you guys both are with, you know, you're coupled up, you guys have somebody, but in a scenario where you're both single, let's say you're at a club, right? Mm-hmm. And you meet a woman, and you think you really like this woman, right? Now,
here we go.
do you think that they should have to tell you that they haven't, like, done the full gender role switch before you actually get in the bed with them? Like, do you think that, like, they should have to tell you before you start, like, before I take my pants off, I should know what's under there? What are your thoughts on that? I mean, we're already in the topic. I figured let's just really dive in.
Man said, look, I feel like in a situation where like I'm at a bar, if we're hooking up, I don't necessarily feel like you have to. I mean, it's tough because like obviously like I want to know ahead of time. Like, obviously
you don't want to go through everything. Yeah. Be at your house and then be like, hey,
you bust out your rod, she busts out hers. No, there's 2 rods.
Like, no, but like that'd be because at that point it's like well, this has to end.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
like I don't want to. Because at the end of the day, like I don't want to.
At what point do you think they should have to tell you then?
I feel like, but that's the tough part because I feel like if we're just meeting at the bar and then going to hook up that night, it's as fucked up as it is. You might just not know until you know.
So you don't think that they have to say it until you see their?
Because I mean, like
because the situation where you're doing it, you're just hooking up.
You're just hooking up.
At that point, you don't even know.
I don't really know much about you at all, bro.
Yeah,
no. Dating is different. Dating, I mean, you have
that's
to
what I'm
tell.
saying.
Yeah,
it's
if
like
you're dating, I'm gonna need to know that up front, my bro.
Yeah, it's like if you're on Tinder or any like dating site, and on their bio it says transitioned or whatever. Cool. I know.
Chill. But like, I mean, like, what about you? So you don't think that they should have to say until they whip out their, or
because in a hooking up situation.
Yeah, because like Terence was saying, like you're there and you don't know them. They don't know anything about you. For all you know, they're like, hey, and you're like, hey, well, I'm actually a girl.
I feel like.
I mean, for all they know.
I feel like, listen,
does that work out?
If I end up making out with you because we're at the bar and I didn't ask questions because, like, let's say they're drunk or whatever, I feel like as soon as, like, you're like, hey, let's head back to my crib, that's when I should know.
Like, hey, by the way.
Hey,
but see,
BT dubs.
But the thing is, though, bro, like, with the regular female, she doesn't tell you, like, just so you know.
Some girls don't even tell you, like, I have an STD.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't really, you don't really just,
you find out until
you don't
afterwards.
display, like, bro, just so you know, like, I got this down here. Like, you start kissing and shit, and it's like, well, you want to go back to my place? It's like, shit, we're just going. Then we gonna get there, and then
I feel like I'm just gonna get mad.
I'm
gonna get mad.
After that situation, bro.
I'm just trying to find a way to avoid me getting mad. It's like, I'm gonna get mad.
Like, damn, bro. Like, it's just like.
Not only that, like, I also look at it from the aspect of think about men that will literally harm people for doing that to them.
See, now
that's another aspect.
That's a little too much.
That's a little too much. I mean, like, yeah.
No, I'm not talking about me or any of us would do that.
Yeah,
but that is a situation that they're risking taking.
I mean, I feel like as a transition woman, like male to female, if you know that the guy you're talking to,
some people give off those vibes. Like
if you know when you're having a conversation, you can tell that they're like heterosexual. Then you need to let me know ahead of time, because then I feel like you're plotting on me a little bit. Because like I feel like it's
Thank you. That's just
like, you know what I'm expecting when we go back to our place, or whatever. So for you to even consider that, like, but at the same time, if you felt like I might not be, then I can't be mad at you.
That's another thing, is like they can make the argument, well, I thought we were vibing, like, so I just
but that's no. Because
I don't care what you thought. He said.
We can vibe and be cool, but sexually, I'm gonna need you to have the other part. Like, that's just what it is. Like, shit.
I agree with that.
Like, like we said before, it's be you, cool. But it's 2 rods and one, that's not a situation that I need to be in. Any situation.
So then your answer is they should tell you if they know that you're straight.
Yeah, if you
know that they're
I'm
trying
straight,
to pipe.
Yeah,
you should let them.
If you know I'm straight and we're getting to that point, you should let me know, because then you can leave it up to me to decide if I want to come back or not.
I feel like also, especially if you think that I think you're a woman.
Yeah, especially
then, because if you know that, then at that point you're plotting.
And it's like, I just feel like, at that point, you should be a little upfront. Just like, hey, just so you know.
Even if it's just on the car ride there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because me personally, like, I'm not going to be rude about, like, finding out or anything like that. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I'm not going to trip. It's like, shit. yeah, I don't really.
Well, what's
really
up with you?
vibe
Well, what's up with you?
Yeah, like, no, I just, like, yeah, I ain't trying to beef with you. It's like shit. We had a good time. We fuck around, be friends or something. But yeah, I ain't. Yeah, we can't do this though. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair argument. Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know because like from a lot of times I've talked to people about it, they're like, no, they shouldn't have to tell you anything. And it's like I never thought that was fair because it's like if I was pretending to be a female, obviously not that I could get away with that. I would hope, they would hope that I would tell them before. Like it's just.
Because then, yeah, like you say, I mean, because like I feel like if you know, especially if you know that the person either thinks that you are a woman or thinks or you know that they're heterosexual, like you know what's gonna happen when we go back to your place.
So why
like,
even put yourself in a situation like that?
Why put us both in that awkward situation? Because like, yeah, and I mean like I said, because if you tell me ahead of time and I still decide to come back with you, then hey, look, y'all have a good night. But like, yeah, so.
It's a fair argument.
That's just how I feel about the shit.
Well, I think on that note, you guys have anything else you guys wanted to cover that you were itching to bring up on the podcast?
Nah, straight. I'm straight.
No. Gonna close it off for us.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, if you guys like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to be a guest, let us know. If you have any topics, let us know. Please. Jump in the comment sections. Let us know your thoughts about this topic. I feel like
other people we could have on. How many people? You guys gotta get on the comments, bro. Yeah. Like I'm trying to see some comments down there so I can go like them or reply to them. Like I'd be bored, bro.
That'd be helpful. We get some feedback would be nice from the viewership. Appreciate you guys checking us out week in and week out and shit like that. So yeah, on that note, we'll end it out. See you guys next time.